Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Happy Friday. We're glad y'all could make it today. It's like countdown, just a couple more days before we are actually landed in Round Rock. I was going to say Austin, but it's like Round Rock. We are currently sitting we're sitting in our hotel room in Oklahoma City. And just gonna start making our way through the Dallas area this afternoon and visiting a dealer, and then heading on down to Round Rock.
I had another family stop yesterday here in Oklahoma. My daughter's in Oklahoma City, so we had a nice dinner with her last night. And so that's part of what we try to do is we sprinkle in family stops in between our professional.
That's why we're gone
visits
for a month and a half. At a time.
So we're kind of working our way there. We saw a beautiful sunset last night. And I got to, as we travel a lot, people in all parts of the country think they have the most beautiful sunsets, I think. And the truth is, I think they're all right.
I think that they are. Well, we've been all over the place. And, I remember when we first met, you talked about the Oklahoma sunsets. And I grew up, I spent the last 25 plus years in the Salt Lake area. And it's like, no, Salt Lake has the most beautiful sunsets. And it's just, if you guys don't, make it a point to get out and enjoy the sunset, because it's what a beautiful day what a beautiful way to end it.
This is a great way to bring in our guest. Tyler Simmons from Abilene Used Cars is joining us today. And Michelle and I have been to Abilene, and we know they have some fantastic sunsets out in West Texas as well. So welcome, Tyler. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Yeah, so Tyler is actually sitting in his pickup truck this morning, just showing us how easy it is in this world we live in to just, get on.
And how great it sounds, too. It's like you don't need all the fancy stuff, do you, Tyler?
Nope. It's keep it simple.
It does.
Yeah. So I reached out to Tyler after we chat a bit, and we're inside one of our Facebook groups together. And so he's, there are a lot of people that we know from our Facebook circles, a couple of private groups that we're part of, and we're always out there talking Buy Here, Pay Here. And Tyler's somebody who has a ton of experience in the space and is also often contributing to the conversation.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, and it's been fun to sit back and watch. And there's you're one of a handful of dealers that I enjoy hearing what you have to say on some of the things, the topic of the day, because there's always something fun happening on one of the Facebook groups.
Yeah, you can't.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so you probably can't see the screen from where you are, Tyler. Bill Elizondo from NIADA says, "Good morning."
All right, good morning, Bill. Looking forward to meeting you at TIADA.
Oh, you haven't met? He's a character.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
It looks like we're friends on Facebook. He looks like he's enjoying Georgia right now.
Yeah.
Yes, right. And I just saw a picture this morning of him and Buckeye Brett, and enjoying a smoked old fashioned,
right?
Because it's like a thing right now. So Tyler, I don't know if you've ever had a smoked old fashioned, but
I have. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
They're good.
They really, it's different, right? Yeah. It's very, very different. So,
we learned that Tyler is a cigar aficionado, so that's also something.
I wouldn't go that far.
Fishing and cigar. Yeah. Absolutely. You probably they had a cigar thing at the NIADA.
Oh, that's true.
Martinis and cigars. So
right. So Tyler, I share with you, I really was looking forward to kind of getting your feedback as somebody who has been active in these groups in the same way that we have been. Like, what are you seeing in there? Like, what do you feel like is the benefit that people get from that? What are you enjoying about being part of those Facebook groups?
Well, it's like a virtual 20 group. It is, you gain experience, you gain ideas. And then at the same time, you can share your best practices. And because, especially with Buy Here, Pay Here Success Group, there's so many, I think there's over 2,000 members in that Facebook group. You tend to get a lot of feedback on your own ideas. So it's just, this industry is, you have to constantly be tweaking and improving. And the Facebook group is a great way of doing that. And then on top of that, you have the new guys, the
Mhm.
dealers that are, just starting out, 200 accounts or 60 accounts, and you hear what they are going through, the growing pains that they're going through. That, I am not a dealership owner. My father-in-law is Tommy, and he brought me on as a salesman in 2013, and I did that for about a year. Then I was dedicated as the compliance officer in 2014. That was whenever, the AutoStar conferences, TIDA conferences, it was, hey, you got to have a compliance guy. You got to have a compliance person in your dealership. So
Mhm.
that's what I became. And I will never forget Tommy telling me, with this compliance job, um, I'm going to give you about 12 months. And within the next 12 months, I want you to know everything there is to know about compliance. And I took that to heart, and I was dedicated to it. And it's just, you keep learning from
Mhm.
the Facebook groups, but also TIDA magazine, NIADA magazine,
Mm.
Counselor Library magazine from Hudson Cook, newsletters, across the auto remarketing. And, you got to continue
Mhm.
learning and improving, and never get complacent. And I think that's a huge part of the Facebook groups.
That's really good. I think we also know from these Facebook groups that it's possible to learn what not to do. You
Absolutely.
a lot of folks out there offering ideas, and not all of them are the ones going to these conferences and hearing the right answers. And so they're out there sharing the way they do it. And that's one of the challenges we get into in those groups is, all people are sharing. And so that's one of the reasons that I spoke up about in your situation. You're very good about, offering your 2 cents and being very generous in the way of mentorship with new dealers who are out there asking questions. And that is one of the great things about the group. And like I say, there's a lot of different ways to do this business. There's some of those that are not lawful,
You're
and so
right.
we hear a lot of stuff that's not
Yeah.
compliant,
Yeah, well, and when you mentioned compliance officer, I thought to myself, oh, I can name a pretty
Mhm.
large handful of people that are like, yes, because
Mhm.
they're the ones that are out there, compliance guys,
Sure,
compliance
sure.
guys,
Mhm.
and it's super, super important. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So what about the conferences, Tyler? I know you've been going to them for years. We got TIADA starts in 2 days. And so what's been your experience? Like, why do you find it's important to make time to go to those conferences?
Well, for all the years past, it's always been, I look at the agenda ahead of time. I start kind of planning, and that is one thing that Tommy emphasizes strongly is, hey, let's go to this conference, find out what classes are going to benefit us the most, what we need to listen in on, take any notes that we need to take, and come back and implement anything that we feel could improve what we do, streamline what we do, or make anything more efficient. So that's what it's always been about, is the classes. And I don't think that any other state association has the type of education driven conference as TIADA does. They don't shy away from the legislative. They
Mhm.
don't, they're not they want dealers in the state of Texas to do things right. And they are more than willing to provide the resources to allow them to do that if that's the direction that they choose to go.
Absolutely. And there are some good ones out there. We agree. Texas got one of the best education driven conferences
Yeah,
out there. And I'm
conferences.
not just saying that because Michelle and I are educating at this one. We really see that it's really an excellent format. They do a good job, and they've got an excellent team at the executive level at TIADA. So shout out to Jeff
Oh
and
gosh,
Teresa and
yeah.
all the people there that do the important work. So no, it's really good. And so we agree. We see the same thing. And by the way, twice you mentioned Tommy. We've not met him. You're talking about Tommy Gregory as your dealer principal, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
And so Tommy, we saw, was named National Quality Dealer of the Year, right?
Huge accomplishment.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
were, I explained our family dynamic of the dealership, before we went on, and it's
Mhm.
Tommy and Wanda, the owners, and they have son Jason. He's our general manager.
Mhm.
two daughters, Amy and Jennifer. Amy's my wife.
Mhm.
Jennifer is her sister. They run our payment center, and then Jennifer's husband is our shop foreman.
Wow.
And so it's all the key roles in all the key departments
Mm-hmm.
are our family. So
Mhm.
that allows for great communication across each department. We're all led by Tommy. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
his mentality or ideology of buy here pay here, which he explained to me on the way to a legislative event we did in Austin not that long ago. He said, I just want to do what's fair to the customer and what's fair to the company.
Mhm.
There's no reason why we can't both be successful, both the customer and the dealership. And
Thank
that's
you.
kind of
Would
what
you
we
say
all
that
lead to.
again? Would you say that one more time? The
Yeah.
dealership and the customer can be successful. That's kind of what we're out there
Oh,
talking about all
yeah.
the time. And so I look forward to meeting Tommy and Wanda and the whole crew, whenever we can
Wait,
work
is
it out.
Tommy going to be at TIADA?
Yeah, Tommy, Wanda, and Jason and I will be at the conference.
We
Yeah,
hope to meet you all.
Yeah. Sounds like Wanda was co-dealer of the year, right? So
absolutely.
I saw her name.
Yes. That is
Go ahead.
that it's a great thing. Tommy offered me a sales position whenever I came out of the Air Force, and I was like, I'd been around. Amy and I had been married for a while at that point, and I was said, sure, yeah. I mean, that's
Nice.
the way
Yeah.
that one day many years ago, Jennifer's husband Adam, one I will never forget this. He told me, Tyler, you could talk to a wall, and so I thought, well,
Like either you're crazy or you're really good.
yeah. So I started out, dealership, and then I, absolutely no regrets. I love it, and
That's awesome.
this is everything to us.
So do you guys ever like have a family gathering where you're not talking about work?
Yeah, absolutely. We
Good.
have.
I'm glad that
It's became an ongoing thing, and it will continue, I'm sure. We take trips out. We'll rent a Airbnb or a VRBO at a lake somewhere here around Texas. Possum Kingdom Lake is one of our primary spots, and
Mhm.
go spend the weekend. We all love fishing and
Nice.
just enjoying time, and those are 99.9% of the time no work conversations. So
Yeah, got it.
Is anyone the rule keeper on that? What?
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
talk about that.
yeah.
Kind of police each other.
So I got to get a shout out. I see Colin K jumped in there. Colin, I'm not going to butcher your last name. I'm going to ask you at the conference to tell me for sure how to pronounce it. But Colin's a well-known CPA out of the Dallas area, and so I did. We saw him at Vegas at NIADA briefly, and so I hope to spend some time with you at Austin. I got to believe you're going to be there, and we look forward to seeing you.
And Amanda Sanchez mentioned that you need to meet someone named Holly Libby.
Yeah, out of California.
Out of California.
Compliance rock star herself,
Yep.
it sounds like. So
Guys
I
could
didn't know that
probably
about Holly.
share stories and
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll definitely have a good time at the conference. This is going to be a fun event. I want to believe when you mapped out your agenda that you plan to be in our session at 10:30 on Monday morning for business planning.
Yep.
If you have to be somewhere else, it's okay. We understand.
No, I fully intended to come in and come in a little early and introduce myself to you.
Oh,
Yeah, cool.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And then I think that they've got us in the speakers lounge
Right,
later on
in
that
the
afternoon.
But yeah, we hope to see you even on Sunday before the conference
yeah.
starts. So yeah, there's this is going to be fun. There's a lot of folks that we recognize, and that we know the names. And when of course, I lived in Texas 12 years. You probably didn't know that part, Tyler. I lived up in Sherman, Texas.
Yeah. Okay.
Where'd you get that 903 phone number? And that was Sherman, Texas. So yeah, I lived there from basically from 04 to 2016. So yeah, I've been in that area, and so some of this country is familiar. Michelle and I will be driving through the Dallas-Fort Worth area on the way to Austin today, and look forward to seeing some of that country and so on. But yeah, there's it's part of what we enjoy about this business is meeting folks and the mentorship part of what you talk about. We see that you're out there, mentoring people, and we see a lot of opportunity, especially, when we hear folks like you that share this mentality that, the customer can absolutely be successful. And I'm just going to step out there and say, without ever meeting Tommy and without ever been in your facility, I would predict that that's the biggest contributor to your success is this idea that, a very customer focused approach. Would you agree?
100% agree to that. Yes.
Good.
It's
Yeah. Go ahead.
from everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's from the sales side. That is, of course, compliance is the number one, but our even our underwriting is driven to be customer driven. In terms of each customer is different, their stories are different, their background is different, and that's everything is driven off of that. So to the payment center, to our repair facility, and service, and being understanding of when things go wrong with the car. Not always the customer's fault. There's still a responsibility on our end to own up to the vehicle that we are selling and that we are putting on our front line, and it's a mentality that we all carry.
Nice. So that reminds me, one of our other pillar things we touched on
Honesty.
Wednesday, the subject of honesty, and you're somebody who can also speak to, and maybe when we get around that topic, we can have you back. But one of our other kind of pillar topics is creativity and flexibility. So that comes into play in what you do, on the sales side of your work is, as you know, sometimes the customers that we finance, they don't know how to solve their own problem. And so it kind of becomes incumbent upon us to know solutions, find solutions, figure out ways to help the customer solve their problem. Do you see that in your work?
Yes. There, whenever you have a customer that comes in that has, whether it's a single mom or the husband and a wife, and they have, 3 kids, and their shopping is driven to what catches their eye the most. And well, what catches their eye the most is likely going to be the most challenging financially.
Yep.
And there's a part as the dealership that you have to keep in mind. This isn't, we're not doing this as a retail sale. This is something, it is a relationship over the next 3-4 years that you want to maintain. You don't want it to go south.
Right.
So helping the customer understand what their actual needs and wants are, and even though if they may not agree what the max payment is that that I can approve them for, we have to help them understand why that is.
Yeah, good.
And the payment is one thing that they're thinking of, but are they thinking of insurance as well? And
if the car is large enough for their family.
yeah, it's and on the other side of that, there are plenty of customers that come in, they're wanting to trade because their family's growing and they know what they need and they know what they want, and that's the other side of what the group with the newer dealers is that perception of buy here pay here customers, that they're all bad, none of them are going to work out,
right?
And it's every customer is going to be short lived. You get the most out of them while you can, and that type of mentality. Hoping to shift that, and help the newer, smaller guys that are 1 or 2 people, 3 people in their store combined, total.
Right.
Understand that it's not always that way. You have customers that have 100% intentions of following through what they are signing up to do.
Well, you are taking a step toward doing that this morning just by bringing your voice to the conversation, because Michelle and I talk about that kind of stuff all the time. We just see that it's almost like there's 2 camps. When we were at San Antonio for TIED last year, it was really the first time I had asked an audience. Like, I just stood in front of a group of dealers and I said, look, You don't have to raise your hands. I don't need to know the answer, but internally you need to answer for yourself. Do you care about the success of your customer or not? Because you fall in one of two camps on that, right? I mean, that's not a hard thing. You either care about whether your customer is successful and makes it to the end of their contract, or you don't. And if you care, then that should affect everything how you approach your customer and set up your business. So that's what I'm hearing you say is, those things, you guys implement that in your work, and as a result, you have a lot more successful customers.
Yeah. One thing that's been it's just the time of the year right now. We have one of our sales associates who is getting a lot of customers coming up on the end of their loan they're within 8 to 12 months of the end of their loan, and they're coming back to upgrade.
Right.
And we were open, to doing that. We actually, Amy, my wife, in the payment center, periodically, she'll come to me and be like, "Hey, is now a good time to start reaching out to customers?" And, depending on our inventory volume and what we have, and I created a report out of IDMS, and she'll go through and manually send out text messages to every customer that is within the window that is ideal for them to be able to trade in with us. And it's great to see that happen, to see a customer come back, not go to a competitor. If y'all have been to Abilene, y'all know there's plenty of them. In a very small population area.
Yep.
And they don't go to a competitor. They come back to us. They want to upgrade their vehicle, newer model, and that starts with day one. Starts with setting up that customer, and then helping that customer throughout the life of the loan. Repairs, if they have a repair that is an extensive one, and setting up a payment plan to help them with that. I know that not all dealers can do that, on the smaller side, but that's something, if they get the mentality of, well, hell, there's a lot of dealers out there that do help their customers like this, then that's the direction that they might want to go into the future, instead of the other camp, like you mentioned, where it's, sorry, you're on your own.
Yeah. I have a question for you though, Tyler, because it sounds like you have a customer base that really understands that you guys are there to help. And so what is it that you guys do that you think attributes to that they know that they can come in and they can trade in, or that if they're having a problem, they can come in and you guys will help try to be a solution to the repair or things like that? Is there something that you guys are doing that is like keeping that connection? We live in a world today where ACH payments and things like that just really it just facilitates a disconnect. And so is there something that you guys are doing that's helping to keep that connect?
To be honest with you, I think it's as simple as just being genuine people.
All right.
Amen.
That's really, whether you're talking to someone in whether it's a customer that's needing the payment center, or it's a customer that's needing our shop. And I'm not sitting here saying that 100% every customer that we have is happy and never has issues,
Right,
never wants to speak to a manager or anything like that. But when they do, they come into the showroom and they want to speak to a manager. They go to they're at our calling our payment center, and they want to speak to a manager in our payment center. Well, the managers are family, so there is no hesitation for one of us to whether it be in person with that customer or on the phone, and just hearing them out, just listening. Let them vent, let them explain their situation. Doesn't mean that you have to change what has already been told to them. Doesn't mean that you have to change your way that you're running your department. But if you just let them explain to you their situation, and you are genuinely open to hearing it, it makes them feel a lot better.
Just listening, right? Just listening.
Yeah, listening is a lot of it. But then I can tell, and just in listening to you myself, Tyler, that you would be genuine in talking to a wall. So, yeah. So,
Your brother-in-law was right. You're
Yeah.
good.
no, I think that is part of it. Like we talk about, and that's a word that we don't hear often enough. And I got a question I'm gonna ask you. I didn't prepare you for this, but and if you don't have an answer right away, we can answer it the next time you're on the show. But one of the things we've started to introduce with our clients, because we work with a lot of people that are new in the business, right? We do launch package. We help people get in the business brand new. And one of the things I've started to ask dealers is, and we were invited to a conference, BHPH United conference in April, and we were speaking on this subject of sell the program, not the car. And so if I ask you, Tyler, if you, rather than selling cars, if I ask you to sell yourself, what are we selling? Like if I go out front and I'm going to sell you, what am I selling? Like what are my, what are my talking points? What am I selling? So what do you think? If I'm selling Tyler or I'm selling Abilene used cars, what am I selling?
Genuine,
Yep.
honesty,
Authenticity.
There, thank you for that word. I was going to work around that word in terms of I'm not gonna, you're not gonna find me beating around the bush.
Yep.
I'm gonna just be honest. I'm gonna be straightforward with you. But I'm not gonna do it in a condescending way either. It's just
Right.
in a best interest of both parties.
Good. I love it. Yeah. So that helps people a lot because like I said, we work with people that are brand new and they have a hard time understanding the value in that. And like I say, we see people that, just like you're talking about, that are kind of short-sighted. They come into this business thinking, how can I make a buck today? And I think this is just a tough business when you're short-sighted and you don't think about the long term and the success of the customer. And one of the things Michelle's heard me talk about is what we call the 10-year approach to this business, or the 10-year approach to every customer. And if we treat every situation, whether it's in the sales department or the collection department, as though that customer is going to be with us 10 years, and it's going to affect the entire dialogue, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you want the customer to be with you for 10 years?
Yeah.
You plan on being in business for 10 years at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
So, your loans may only be 3, but
Right.
4 years or even 2 years. But that just means that you're going to have a lifelong customer. And we, where we're at right now on North First and Abilene used to be, many years ago, was a retail location.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very nice facility. It's full glass front,
Mm-hmm.
on a main road, North First and Abilene. But Abilene Used Car Sales, Tommy and the family prior to me. This is whenever Amy, Jennifer, and Jason were in their teen years and even younger.
Mm-hmm.
We're at their start off location, and off of Treadway, and then they moved from there to East South 11th, and that was whenever really the recon and the service, that's where it grew from. And we have customers that come in today. I've worked for Tommy since 2013, so this was even long before me. And we have customers that come in today. We just had Vicky. Her name was Vicky. She came in 2 days ago, and they come in and I've been buying cars from you guys since y'all were on East South 11th. That is the phrase that we always hear from him, and
Right.
that's since 91 is so why look at a customer as just by the loan term,
Sure.
why not look at it as, hey, this is what's going to work for you right now.
Mm-hmm.
It works for us. I'm approving you for this car. This is what fits your needs right now, but we're going to upgrade you. We're going to upgrade you one day. We're going to get you in a newer, nicer vehicle. Get some more stability with you, and we'll be able to continue long into the future, and not just, we're not doing retail. We don't sell the car and then collect the check from the bank after we register it.
Right.
It's a lot more. Some may call it growing pains, but it's a relationship.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah, it's beautiful. So, when you agreed to join us, you were worried about, will we be able to find stuff to talk about for 30 minutes, or what are we going to talk about? Would you believe 30 minutes has already gone by? And
No, I just looked at my phone actually, and I
Yeah.
didn't.
So that's part of what we do with this morning show is
Yeah.
we hope you're enjoying the morning show, Tyler. It seemed like you're in there a bit, and we appreciate you being there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I listen every time that goes on. I'm typically on my way. I got about a 15-minute drive from my house to the dealership, and
so we should try to keep it down to about 15 minutes.
no. I'm sure now people, other employees will probably understand, but I'll listen to it in my truck and get out of my truck, and I'll walk into
Oh,
the dealership and I have y'all playing still on my phone. I'm just holding my phone, and
Nice.
they don't know if I'm on the phone or if I'm just listening. But
well, you are. It's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, we're grateful for you listening, and we're grateful for
Absolutely.
you adding to the conversation this morning. Like, this is part of what I think you can expect to see out of the morning show going forward. We want to spotlight dealers that are out there,
Mhm.
playing the long
Dealerships and
game.
dealers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dealerships and dealers and folks who are out there living it. And especially, we're just trying to shine a spotlight on folks who are, being generous with their information and trying to help have an impact on this industry.
Mhm.
And we're seeing signs of some progress, and it's a tough time, as you know. It's a changing time in buy here, pay here. So we know that dealers, need to hear from other dealers and figure out what works. But I think you've kind of helped to this morning to help folks connect the dots on how to really play the long game in buy here, pay
And I
here.
really appreciate, Tyler, too, that you are, it's a family business. You're not the dealer principal, but that it's obvious that the dealer principal, that your father-in-law and that they've really communicated, and they live that, because that's what you communicate. That's what you live. And so it's really beautiful to talk to you and know that this is not just a dealer saying this is who we are. This is someone who's in the trenches, that has been taught, and that they're creating this culture, and it's just so lovely to talk to someone
thank you.
who speaks that.
Yeah. And we'll have to kind of wrap it up and save the rest of this for another day. But what I'm also hearing is that, culture is a hard thing to talk about, but you guys at Abilene Used Cars clearly have a culture that means, you speak the speak. You definitely, everybody from the top down speaks the same language and has the same feeling about the customers. And so that's a beautiful thing to hear about. And so we appreciate, again, you joining us this morning. We better close it up and let folks get to their buy here, pay here businesses. So
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
yeah, of course.
You are so welcome. Hey guys, it is Friday. It's payday, so the collection departments are probably going to be pretty darn busy today. And wish you guys a fantastic Friday and a great and productive Saturday as well. We are going to be traveling today and tomorrow into Round Rock, and those of you who will be there at TIADA, please find us and say hello. And we see a lot of y'all out there adding comments and your voice to some of the things that we're talking about. And we really want you to know that we appreciate it an awful lot. It adds richness to the conversation.
So stay on, Tyler. We're going to cue the music, and you can just listen to the music as we close it out here. So.
Have a great
All right.
Friday, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.